All right, welcome into Paign. It's our inaugural episode here. My name is Drew Richter.
I'm Zane Doopson.
And I'm Tristan Thomas, the guest star here for the inaugural episode of Paign.
Yes, and just to get our name out of the way, it's named Paign because we're located here in Champaign, Illinois, home of University of Illinois. So we're Bears, Bulls, Cubs fans. He's a Colts fans, and Illinois fans in general. So it's a constant state we're in right now. We're always in pain.
Yeah, we'll get into the Bears. We can get into the Bulls a little bit as well. Those teams haven't done much of anything as long as we've been fans. Illinois football as well. Got Illinois basketball to look forward to, so a lot to talk about here going on in sports. Just like NBA free agency. Want to start there?
Yeah, so obviously there's not a lot of big name superstars out there. That's gonna have to wait till next year. But I don't know. There's been a couple of signings that I think have definitely benefited teams that are hoping to contend. Well, if Klay Thompson didn't get hurt, the addition of Kelly Oubre to the Warriors, I think that would have been pretty big.
Yeah, that would be adding depth more to the wing spot, but that's kind of out of necessity. They made that trade of bringing in Klay Thompson.
Yeah, they got to do it now.
The biggest, I think, most notable signing, and one that we can kind of laugh at, honestly, Gordon Hayward to the
God.
4 years, $120 million.
I know.
Everyone thought he was crazy when he declined that $34 million player option. Obviously not. I mean, I don't know what it is about the Hornets and Michael Jordan, but it's Michael Jordan. Greatest player of all time. That's debatable. I think he's the GOAT. That's the consensus.
Yes.
As a
One of the worst GMs of all time?
exactly, as an owner, as
God.
a front office guy, just terrible. It's like he doesn't understand value of players. It's like, oh, was that guy good in college? Did he go to Kentucky? Did he go to Duke? All right.
Hasn't Hayward only been an all-star 1 year? And he just led the biggest deal.
He got injured too. That injury completely changed his game. He's not quite the same player. He's not nearly that $30 million a year. That's way too much.
Yeah, I saw a tweet that said LeBron James is already a better GM than Michael Jordan has ever been in his career.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, Gordon Hayward, I mean, they're still going to be fucking terrible, but it's all right. At least they're not...
He might pull a Gordon Hayward and
at least they're not starting a lineup of all 70s in 2K now.
Yeah, I mean, the Hornets are just definition of mediocrity now. I mean, they brought in LaMelo Ball. That's a high upside pick. Someone who can be really... You can be a superstar in this league. But as a general rule, I don't think anyone trusts the Hornets front office to really build a contender.
I think LaMelo going to there is a black hole for his career. I don't trust them to develop him at all. It's just... he shot 25% from 3 in Australian League. That's not going to get better based on him just going out there chucking up shots. Which, who else are they going to put out there?
Devonte Graham stepped up his game big.
Well, Devonte Graham,
I'm saying they're shooting.
I like Devonte Graham.
Might be different.
I like Devonte Graham. I think he's a really good role player. I don't think he's a great starter. I think he's a great 6-man. But the only reason he put up those numbers is because there's no one else there to put up those numbers.
Exactly. That's my main thing. There's no one really else there. I'm thinking back to Illinois basketball. What was it, a couple years ago? Underwood's first year.
Malcolm Hill?
No, that was Malcolm Hill's senior year. Was John Gross's last year when they just barely missed the tournament. Malcolm Hill was a senior. They never made the tournament with him. Anyway, there was not a whole lot of scorers on that team, and I think Kipper Nichols put up okay, this was under year 2, by the way. Okay, against Michigan State, he put up 35 or something. Last game of the Big Ten their season against Iowa, the Big Ten tournament, he put up 30, and then you bring in more talent and you have more players surrounding him, and all of a sudden he's not much of a scorer. That's the thing with Devonte Graham of. I don't know. Someone has to score. Is it empty calorie point? Empty calorie points. He's scoring, or is it going to lead to something? With the Hornets, I don't think so.
I think he's a better served as a 6-man on a good team than a starter.
Saying that, could you say LaMelo Ball might do what Devonte Graham did last year and kind of Michael Jordan give him the nod to just be like, all right, do what you did at Chino and just shoot 50 times a game?
It depends.
I mean, Trey Young. Trey Young has been doing that. Steph Curry did that.
If they hadn't gotten Gordon Hayward, I would lean more towards saying yes. But
yeah, I mean,
they got Gordon Hayward for a reason. They want to compete, and they're in the East, so anything is possible.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't see him going up there. I think they're gonna.
Confusing.
Their coach he's not a scrub either. He used to be at the Spurs for a while, so he knows what he's doing.
They're just kind of they're kind of a boring team.
They're just
Speaking of
like
teams that have been terrible over our lifespan, what do you think about the Bulls? I mean, they take Patrick Williams. Here's the thing with that draft. He's a high upside pick. That's what I like. And with the Bulls, they didn't make a whole lot of. They've only made like one signing, Garrett Temple, 1 year, $5 million. But again, this isn't a year the Bulls are going to be big spenders. I'm just excited to see something different than Garpax. I mean, with Garpax, you knew that.
AK knows what he's doing, and
I mean, you look at the model of like the Nuggets, which is where he came from, and he's made some pretty good draft picks.
He's got the talent.
Yeah, I mean, made the deal where with the Bulls, where the Bulls got Doug McDermott, and then they got
Gary Harris
and someone else too. Was it what's his name? So a big guy for the Blazers now. Was it
Cantor?
No. What's his name?
Collins.
He was a foreign guy. Okay.
Dario Saric?
He was a contributor though. It was a good trade for them.
Herzoni?
No, Herzoni's a wing.
I'm thinking of all the white guys on
Nurkic. You said
Nurkic. I think they got Nurkic too.
I think he was.
They got Nurkic off of our pick too. Yeah.
That's a good trade. I just want someone who's gonna get the hope with the Bulls is you can bring in a big time free agent. That's how you're gonna change things. You're really turn things around in the NBA. And who knows if they can do that? Garpax surely could do that. I mean, they're supposed to get
Garpax and Jim Boylan were certainly not getting that.
No, Jim Boylan. Is clearly not a professional basketball coach. Just clearly not.
Not even. I don't know if he's a G League coach.
He's running Zach LaVine out of Chicago.
He's ruining Lauri Markkanen's game. Wendell Carter. We still don't know what he's going to be because he's terribly mismanaged.
It's sad. But the thing is, going into this draft, I think our management knew that we weren't going to sign anyone. The only big name out there was AD, and I mean, of how awesome it would be to get AD come back to hometown. He ain't gonna do that. He's signed with the Lakers, blah, blah, blah. So we knew we're not gonna get anyone. So we didn't want to go out into this draft thinking that we had to draft star power for right now. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to get LaMelo. We didn't have to get Anthony Edwards or Wiseman. I think they knew that this pick is gonna be, we're gonna develop this pick. He's gonna be vital for us. We're gonna draft a position that we need specifically for our team right now. We're gonna help. The first 5 minutes after I heard Patrick Williams, I was like,
yeah.
Obi's out there. I wanted Obi, but then
Obi Toppin's 30. He's 30. He's like, okay, he's not
22, but at the same time, it's a late bloomer.
I mean, how old is Patrick Williams? Like 18, 19?
He's the youngest player in the draft.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you're looking for. And it was that top 3 of Wiseman, Edwards, and
there's no doubt.
Ball.
There's no doubt we knew what those are.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who went 10th could have gone 4th. I mean, there was a whole bunch of different names going out there, and I trust their development. I trust what they know.
I trust AK.
Yeah, that's all we can do is kind of.
I trust Billy Donovan. Yeah,
that was a heck of a hire.
I love the Billy Donovan hire. He's showing on both levels that he can get done. He took that Thunder team that pretty much had like no right making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. How much of that can be on Chris Paul? You don't know. There's questions about his ability to coach past the first round. He had Westbrook and George, but right now we don't need that. We need development and a coach that people want to play for. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like that Patrick Williams pick a lot.
My question is, why not try to trade that 4th overall for like a 9th overall and something, and you could still have the potential.
We tried.
I'm sure they tried.
They tried.
True. Or
they
maybe,
tried to.
Maybe talk around the league of other people liking him as well, and then not wanting him to go away. Something like that. I don't know what's happened, but
yeah. From what I heard, they tried to do that, but no, they couldn't get anyone. They weren't finding anyone to trade down. They figured they would get Patrick Williams at like a 6 or 7, but they just weren't finding anyone, and they figured,
Yeah, like you said,
it's a hit or miss right here.
Yeah.
And then after that pick, there were talks that like the Spurs really liked him. That's a ringing endorsement. A team like the Spurs, who like they're so good at drafting, so good at developing, they like him. That's a good sign. So again, with all these signings, mainly in the draft, we'll see. I mean, everyone said it was terrible for the Knicks to take Kristaps Porzingis where they did, and that really worked out. So it's kind of something wait and see.
Yeah. What do you guys? Who do you think got this steal of the draft?
I mean, Obi Toppin could be.
I like Obi Toppin. I'm surprised he fell all the way down. What, 8? He was at 8.
Yeah,
right?
8 to the Knicks.
That's crazy. I once after the Bulls didn't pick him, I was like, well, the Cavs are gonna pick Obi, no doubt. They get Killian Hayes or no?
I'm not sure.
Oh, they got Okoro.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, ooh, Okoro's another player I wouldn't mind the Bulls getting either. He's got the defensive. He's a solid defender, and he's a bit more offensively out there than Patrick Williams. But I'm happy with Patrick Williams.
A team that's really good at drafting and could have got a steal is the Heat getting Precious Achua.
Yeah.
Or they get him like 20.
Yeah.
They draft well.
It makes me mad because I dislike the Heat. And last year, they would have had a hell of a draft had they not. They did have a hell of a draft.
Tyler Hero.
Kendrick Nunn, Tyler Hero. But they drafted Bol. And then they traded him. And when we were all sitting around like, please want the Bulls to get Bol. We need we love Bol.
Who do we pick? We picked another
We want
center.
Bol.
Yeah.
But and then we're sitting around, and then he's sliding second round. Like, oh my god, no!
He took Daniel Gafford.
Yeah.
He's
a Gafford.
right,
Big man Dan. He's all right.
He's
not
no Bol.
Not a modern big guy. Bol, that's upside.
Bol.
How do you not?
Oh, I want Bol. And then I saw a picture of Bol in a Windy City Bulls. He's playing for the Windy City Bulls, and I was like, wait, did the Bulls get Bol? And I didn't know this. No, he plays for the Nuggets still, but he's just for some reason playing for the Bulls G League team.
I don't think every team has a G League affiliate.
Oh
yes.
Yes.
Some roster
That's probably why.
sharing
Okay, that's right. I was like, oh, that's such a Bol. But steal a draft, in my opinion, I really like. I like the Nuggets getting RJ Hampton at like what 24 was it something like that?
He's
like this was like 2 years ago, like even a year ago. This guy was like #1 pick projected.
Yeah, they get value. Like
MPJ, like it's just like this guy's sliding for some reason. Okay,
they're always
gonna lose.
They're always at a point in the draft where it's like, what the heck? We'll take a flyer on this guy. Like worst case scenario, you lose out on middle round pick or end of the first round pick, or upside
for them
they're really good and it works out.
Like it's. Once you get past the lottery, it's like you go look through past drafts. You look at these people's names. You're like, I don't know who that is. I have to there's a lot of people, and then there's like some drafts in the late rounds where you get freaking Jokic, second round, and the Bull is Simonovic, second round pick from Montenegro. Calling it right now, he's gonna be the next Jokic. Carney saw something in him, and Marko Simonovic. Calling it right now. All-Star 2026.
I want to give a shout out to Jay Scrubb, another second round pick.
Jay Scrubb, I saw that.
John A. Logan College. I've seen a couple of his games, announced a couple of them. He looks to be a pretty good player. I mean, he's like 6'6", athletic wing, can jump out of the gym, nice jumper. Went to the Clippers. The Clippers really liked him, so that's a player who could work out in the second round. Who knows with the second round?
And Dylan Windler type.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
I like Dylan Windler. It's a shame that he went to the Cavs.
The Cavs.
I like him. He balled out in college.
Yeah, that's it should be. I think Jay Scrubb could be a solid player, but there's a reason he went in the second round. JUCO player. You want to talk in NFL here? we got Monday Night Football tonight.
I'm
looking forward to this game.
Rams Bucs
Should be fun. Could be, an offensive game. I don't know. Both teams are good on both sides. Pretty balanced.
Let's talk about the wide receiver core for the Buccaneers. I read that top 3 lineup.
They're playing
and I just see
it's like
how
it's when you what you do with the Bucs, the Buccaneers Antonio Brown is what you did when you found out that all these players were going to the Buccaneers back in March, and you said, "All right, time to fire up Madden. I'm gonna start a franchise with the Bucs. This team's too crazy." And then you go, free agent Antonio Brown's there. I'm gonna sign Antonio Brown. It's kind of cheating, but whatever. I'm going all out.
That's what you always do.
That's what you do. And then the
Bucs
did that. The Bucs actually did it.
Yeah.
They're like, Leonard Fournette's available. We'll get him.
Yeah, Leonard Fournette, man.
Anyone
and
else?
their defense is playing tremendous as well. It's just I don't know.
And then the problem with doing that this year is you have less practice time. There's going to be more of a learning curve in terms of developing chemistry between the receivers. And even though you got Brady in the offseason, it's not going to be. You didn't have regular training camp. I said this going into the season. This Bucs team that the loss to the Bears was really struggling in week 1. That's going to be a completely different team than we see later in the year. And we're getting to that point where the Bucs are at 7-3. They're favored by 4.5 tonight. I think they're going to cover that. I think they win tonight. The Rams are just a Jekyll and Hyde type of team.
Yeah.
If they can't run, if they can't set up play action, you don't know what they're going to do. And that's a team that got blown out by the Dolphins. And then you don't really know.
You don't know what's going to happen.
They're such a weird team too, like with how they're set up. Of like they have maybe the top 2 players at each of their defensive positions with Ramsey and Aaron Donald, and then it's a stars and scrubs.
And then their linebackers are like who?
Leonard Floyd.
Leonard Floyd, of course. Yeah, Leonard Floyd's balling out 7 sacks this year. When Robert Quinn putting up a whole lot of nothing.
I mean, he wasn't what the Bears wanted at 8. Like, I mean, he's got a lot of talent. He just didn't produce the way he wanted.
He just did it. It's not like I don't blame them for letting Leonard Floyd go. I've done the same thing. It's kind of bittersweet to see him do so well right after we signed his replacement to such a fat deal, and he's doing amazing. But what else? The Buccaneers. The top 3, I'm hoping they produce well tonight, and I hope Robert Gronkowski puts up a fat goose egg tonight. Because if he does, if Robert Gronkowski puts up a goose egg, I clinch the playoffs.
In our money league, with I beat you or was that last week or a couple weeks ago? Where you had the Bucs defense, and I had Rob Gronkowski. Gronk gets a touchdown late to put me ahead, or put me like pretty close. And then I think the Bucs gave up like a late touchdown, or I don't know what it was, but it was like I beat you by like 1 point.
Yeah,
and that's like speaking of like bad beats. Last night the over under on rushing yards for Patrick Mahomes was like 16.5, and he had 18 like going in like the last drive where they got the ball back and won the game. And then 2 kneel downs. Gave it the under.
Did you bet
rushing yards? I didn't bet it, but like that's just funny to think of.
I bet it. I did a parlay. Wow. I did the over last night. Patrick Mahomes over in passing yards, and Travis Kelce to score a touchdown. And that Kelce touchdown was so clutch. And it was it was the opposite of clutch for you because it made you start losing in your fantasy thing. I mean, if you lose, I win. And I clinch. If you lose, I clinch into the playoffs.
And is that in our like?
It's a money league.
Money league, yeah. I did not do well in that league, and then our other league that I won last year. I don't know if I'm in because
I'm pretty sure you lost.
But I'm the second.
No.
I'm the second seed right now.
If Brett's wins, you're in. If Lever wins, you're out.
But how am I the second seed already? Like I'm at like
because Tyler's
is it something with
well, you're gonna be losing.
With standing.
You're not gonna have the. You're gonna be.
Is there something with divisions though, where like the 2 leagues where like one of those each get in?
I think
it's 2.
It's 2 and 2 get in, but it doesn't matter because so if you lose, you lost this week, right?
Yeah, and then Brett's lost too, probably.
Well, that's
if Chris Godwin like goes off,
it's not decided yet. But so if Brett's wins, you're in.
Yeah.
because they both have 7 wins.
Lieber's going to have a better record than me, but I don't know. We can.
I don't think it's for points scored. I think record is the ultimate decision.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
Tristan has the most points scored, though.
Another interesting NFL thing to hit on. Tua got benched.
I don't like Tua.
Like that was
I don't like Tua coming in to begin with.
Yeah.
To start, it's not like they were doing terrible. The Dolphins were doing well. Their defense is carrying them. Fitzpatrick wasn't playing bad at all. I don't know. You drafted Tua and you signed Fitzpatrick for a reason for him to sit behind him.
Well, I liked what they did bringing in Tua for 2 reasons. One, I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick, you never know what you're going to get. Like he's a really erratic quarterback where he can look really good for 2 games and then look completely terrible for 2 games after that. And their defense has played pretty well this year also. So I think bringing in someone like Tua, who's not going to turn the ball over, going to take care of things, you can play complementary. And then also they've got a top pick coming up. You got the Texans pick. That's going to be near the top of the draft. If you really don't like what you have in Tua, you can make a move for one of these top quarterbacks at the top of the draft. Probably not Trevor Lawrence, probably not Justin Fields, but maybe Trey Lance or Zach Wilson or Kyle Trask, or whoever you like. You can make a move. This is we're in the post Josh Rosen era of teams not waiting on quarterbacks. You gotta perform right now. It's still Tua's job after this past week where he did not look good against the Broncos. Part of that, I think, is the Dolphins' O-line, but he's really got to step up. I think these next few games are going to be really important.
He plays the Jets next.
Yeah.
So that's a very
get right game.
Good game for him to just go off.
I think it'd be a rash decision to move on from Tua that early. I still think he's going to be good. He's a rookie. Not all rookies are.
He's still a starter.
Everyone's saying this one rookie had a season where they looked like a pro. Now all rookies need to be doing that, and you've seen time and time give it a couple of years. Patrick Mahomes did not start his first year.
You need to see flashes. I think Tua needs to really make a few big time plays of wow, that guy's got a ton of talent. You haven't seen. I mean, that first game he came in against the Rams as a starter. He didn't really do anything. It was all the defense. Yeah, so I think Tua's got to show enough ability to where this is something that they're comfortable going forward saying, all right, this is a guy we can build on, give him some talent, spend some money in the offensive line, and then you're really well set up for the future. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a move because if you don't like what you have at quarterback, this is a heck of a draft to go and get one you think you can build on.
Sure.
What do you think about Bears next year quarterback situation? What are we gonna do?
You're in a tough spot.
It's a really tough spot right now.
Things have not. Look, when the Bears got Mitch Trubisky, they were at that top spot of the draft, or the start out at the 3rd before trading up. The Bears had never really been there. They're always perennially terrible offense, great defense.
We're never a bad team. We're just never a good team.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of middling. And this year is the perfect example of that. Is the defense has been really solid. I mean, Khalil Mack's
top 5 defense.
Khalil Mack's even he's producing similar to what you're paying him. Even when he doesn't get all the sacks, he still is big time in terms of pressures and all that stuff. Roquan Smith is playing really well.
He's playing all pro level.
Yeah.
Was he leading the league in tackles?
I think he's up there. I mean, he's had a really
time for tackles for a loss.
He's had a really great year.
It's been a good year.
His defense overall has done well. The offense is just a disaster. The offensive line. I mean, who you're starting out there? Alex Mustafar and
Arlington
Hambright. Yeah, and
we signed Eric Kush. We got a Cushman back on the roster from the practice squad.
Jason Spriggs, former Packer.
It's an embarrassment. The offense is sad to watch. It physically hurts me to watch. It's one thing to have your team just be have a bad offense. The Bears have the worst offense.
Mm-hmm. It's terrible.
When you watch your team, you always feel like they play worse than other teams do. It's just natural. Even if you didn't play that bad, it's well, how come we can't do this? Whenever the Chiefs, Tyreek Hill has a 90-yard bomb. Like, why can't we do that? Well, it's because only the Chiefs can do that. I watch any team. I watch the Jacksonville Jaguars and be like, why can't the Bears do that?
They're a confident
It's
team.
so sad.
I mean, their quarterbacks of Jake Luton and Gardner Minshew have looked better than anything we've seen a quarterback the last few years.
It feels like they're trying hard to do this. So many missed throws.
Here's the thing with the way the offense is built, where you have no depth on the offensive line. Your quarterback is terrible. You traded a pick to get Nick Foles. Now, part of it is, I think, if he's a quarterback who really gets better with the more protection he has. But regardless, he is not paid out for what you paid for him. Mitch, obviously terrible. That's going to be the number one thing Ryan Pace is known for, no matter if he's fired or not this year. And then the sad thing, though, was the receivers are pretty solid. I mean, Al Robinson, that's a stud. He's a number one receiver.
He's a straight up number one receiver. He's a top 8 receiver in this league. Darnell Mooney is a stud.
Might be still the draft.
I have loved Darnell Mooney since the day we got him, just because his name is awesome. You can't Darnell Mooney. He's like a god. And from Tulane University, New Orleans. He's a speedster. That's what we needed. We needed a guy who could just.
And before we go any further, he's not the steal of the draft. Julian Blackman is the steal of the draft.
Who is Julian Blackman?
Julian Blackman, the safety for the Colts, the defensive rookie of the year.
Well, we get Darnell 6th round, right?
4th round.
Mooney's a 4th rounder?
I think so.
No way. He's a 4th round.
Doesn't matter. Julian Blackman, steal of the draft.
Well, Darnell Mooney's
defensive rookie of the year. We got 2 straight in a row.
I watched a compilation the other day.
The more and more I hear you guys talk about the Bears, it just feels like you guys could be the Colts because we have probably arguably the number one defense, and now our offense doesn't look that good, like yours. Like compared defense to offense, if you guys upgrade your offense, I could definitely.
Well,
see
you guys also have like the best offensive line in the league.
That's the thing.
We did not see that last.
Well,
this last game.
Have the best guard in the game.
I mean, the holding
true.
thing's obviously true.
I'm saying through the whole game,
one of the best left tackle, getting Sanzo.
Sanzo is one of the best left
tackles. Very solid offensive line. We got randos out there, bro. We got people who no one's ever heard of.
Our offensive line is terrible, and it's time to fire Ryan Pace. It's time to fire
Ryan Pace should have been fired with the second he drafted Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. They didn't even bring in Mahomes for a workout, bro. They never gave him the time of day, and he is going to be the second greatest, if not the greatest quarterback of all time.
Everyone loves to make fun of the Bears for not taking Mahomes. It's in hindsight is just crazy. But look, at the time of the draft,
Mahomes,
he was seen as a very risky pick. Okay, it's Big 12 quarterback. You know, he's throwing these wide open lanes, not going to succeed in a pro style offense. That's always been the knack on Big 12 quarterbacks. There's a reason he went where he did. But not taking Deshaun Watson is the bigger indictment. You didn't even interview him.
He won at every single level he played on, and it's not like he was dude. He played so solid, and that national championship game against Alabama.
People thought that Alabama team was unbeatable, and he went out and beat him.
It just oh my god, how are people not set on this guy? He's a born winner. He wins everywhere he goes. Granted, the Texans are doing everything they can to prevent that from happening by being you say, I wish Bob a Bears fan. At least I'm not a Texans fan because they're a garbage joke of an organization.
Yeah, I mean, this Bill O'Brien is gone. You can maybe make some.
Yeah, they got Romeo Crennel, There's a guru in there.
You know Romeo Crennel's like 70-something years old?
Dude, he's so old.
He's the oldest coach in the NFL interim. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you gotta fire. I think you gotta fire right now, as soon as you can. Fire Ryan Pace. Fire Matt Nagy. I don't know who you bring in as a GM. I don't know who you bring in as a coach. But it needs to be better. The Bears fans deserve better than this because if Matt Nagy is an offensive coach and this is your offense, you can't even call plays. It's time for you to go. But the thing is, I don't think we're gonna see a move at this point because
it's too late.
It's too late. You could have made a move with the bye week and had some time to adjust and just move things around, but that's apparently not what's going to happen. Apparently Ryan Pace has endeared himself to the McCaskey family. The McCaskies are a joke of owners. They don't care about winning. They
care.
Truly do not care because they're going to sell out and have top 5 and 10s. They're going to have a lot of sellouts no matter what because the Bears are the biggest thing in Chicago.
They're non-involved.
They don't care about winning. If they would say this is unacceptable. We've got to make a move. We've seen enough. And then we've seen this time and time again with general managers and coaches over the years I've been a Bears fan. It's just not good enough, and they're willing to wait it out and just see more losing. We know what's going to happen. We know it's not good enough, but that doesn't matter apparently.
So I think do we for the coach next year? Do we say screw it, get rid of Matt Nagy, we go take 2 and hire Eric Bieniemy?
I'll take Bieniemy.
We say
sure.
we don't like this Chiefs offensive coordinator. Let's take this one. One is we just need to go out and just straight up hire Andy Reid. That's the only thing that can save us at this point.
It's like it seems like with some of these coordinators of the top coaches of McVay, where you're around this thing, you're around the Chiefs offense. All right, we'll hire you. But Bieniemy, he looks to be a solid offensive mind. I mean, I'll take a chance on that.
He's not some random name like Matt Nagy you never heard of. Bieniemy's been around. You've been hearing his name for 5-6 years. He's been around.
I think he's gonna have a chance at his choice of jobs though.
Oh yeah, any team, everyone that is firing their head coach, they're all gonna want Bieniemy.
Are you coming to Chicago or Houston or Atlanta? I'd go to Atlanta over Chicago or Houston.
See, Atlanta is the thing is. Matt Ryan's old.
There's something wrong with.
They can't win with Matt Ryan. Ryan, he doesn't have it anymore. Their window is gone. Julio's getting older every single day. They're going into rebuild mode. They're already really bad, and they have these stars on their team.
I think the Bears though are kind of nearing a rebuild potentially. It could be a retool where you probably lose some pieces on the defense. I think you try and keep Khalil Mack because he's one of the best edge rushers in the league. You're probably gonna have to get rid of some of those bigger contracts and then kind of retool what you're doing on the offensive line. I don't know how you do it. I'm not a GM. I've heard Louis Riddick as a potential name. Is you bring in
Louis
GM? That would be fun. He seems like he knows what he's talking about.
I have a dark horse contender for the Bears GM. He's a guy he's done the impossible once. Theo Epstein.
Oh man, I saw that.
Bring in Theo Epstein, and I guarantee you, he does not perform poorly. He's going to do a good job. There's no way he does not do a good job. It's like these. It's not just a specific sport thing. Once you know sports, and Theo's a guy who doesn't look into. He doesn't look into things way too much. He just has that certain thing, and I think he can easily do it for football.
I think he can understand value and how to construct a team around the salary cap. But here's the thing: he's not gonna. He knows baseball talent. He doesn't know football talent. I mean, that's not his sport. So you really have to trust your main scouts and the guys who you're going to draft. So it'd be kind of a collective effort where he would have to bring in some main guys to help him run it because it's football. It's a different sport.
It's a different sport.
I don't know. I don't see that happening, but
it's not going to happen.
It'd be fun.
There's no way
he
does it, but
I would take that over another year Ryan Pace, honestly.
Ryan Pace needs to leave. It's just so many questionable things he's done. Yeah. Our running back room.
He's so confusing as a coach or as a GM because he'll bring in really nice late round picks. I mean, Tariq Cohen. I mean,
he
Eddie
Jackson. He drafts well late rounds.
Eddie Jackson in the later rounds. Even a guy like Bilal Nichols has worked out. Same with Roy Robertson, Harris. Just these random guys that are producing. And it's wow, this guy can find talent. But then at the very top of the draft, I mean, Mitch Trubisky, Kevin White, not necessarily his fault. With energies, Leonard Floyd, Anthony Miller, that's not worked out. Adam Shaheen, that definitely didn't work out. It's a mixed bag with Ryan Pace where there's a lot of good, a lot of bad. I think the bad outweighs the good. So that's where the Bears are. They're not a fun team to watch, not a fun team to root for until they fire their coach. Real quick, one last topic before we get out of here. Illinois basketball, top 10 in the nation.
Woo!
Quick, what are your expectations for this year?
Well, we got those 3 games coming up this week. Obviously, a bunch of scrub teams, 3-0. Then play number 2 Baylor and then number 9 Duke. We play 2 top 10 matchups that start of the year. If I say that if we find a way to, if we win both those games,
you might be the number 1 team in the nation.
We are the number 1 team in the nation. If we beat Baylor as number 2 and then Duke, there's no you can't deny us our number 1. If we win those 2 games, I'm saying we're Final 4 or bust easily. But if we split those games, lose both of them, I as a Illini fan, I don't get my hopes up too easily. But realistic expectations for the season, Sweet 16.
Yeah, I'll say that should be the expectation. You make a solid run in the tournament. You'd like to win the Big Ten. That's going to be tough.
It's the best conference in college basketball.
Really deep. Yeah, I mean, you've got Wisconsin, Iowa, Michigan State's going to be there. With Illinois basketball, though, I mean, obviously you got 2 big-time talents, and Io and Kofi coming back. That was huge. That's the reason you're this high. Yeah. The big questions for this team, I think, is shooting. I mean, you lost Alan Griffin. He was your best shooter. You're going to need shooting from Devonte Williams, Adam Miller. You got to come in and get some scoring from him. Trent Frazier needs to be more consistent shooting the ball. Same thing with Io. If he wants to be a top draft pick, he's got to shoot from the outside better. But also the who's going to play the 4 is a big question.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, you missed out on some transfers. Earlier in the Underwood era, you missed out on a guy like EJ Liddell, who if he was in playing the 4, you probably would be the number 1 team in the nation. I mean, that's the one spot that's really with Georgie that didn't really work out earlier in the year last year, and then Devonte kind of filled the 4. So I don't know. We'll see. This is going to be a really fun season. The best team we've seen since 04-05, and I don't remember 04-05.
Yeah, we were babies.
It's going to be fun. And even if COVID ends up ruining the season, the reason Kofi and I are back is because of COVID. And them not getting to perform on the Big Ten tournament or NCAA tournament stages.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is Georgie going to step up. He had that great freshman year, came out of nowhere, put up solid numbers, all around play. Last year, bust. He couldn't make a shot to save his life.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it was just that it was an off year for him. Hopefully, this COVID has given him a chance to take a step back, enhance his game. I've seen pictures of him. He looks like he's in great shape. He's really beefed up. I think that's going to be a big thing is whether he's going to play. And I think the integration of all these guys we're bringing in. How's Coleman Hawkins going to do in this? How's Curbelo? How's Miller? How are they going to be integrated into the offense? And just how are they going to play together if the chemistry's there? It's going to be real tough to beat us. When we're on fire, we're going to be on fire. But last year was a big thing, shooting. Can we be consistent or not? We were pretty freaking terrible at 3 last year. I think we were one of the worst in the nation from 3. That's going to be what makes or breaks our season is to be shooting.
Don't forget the transfers too. You got Jacob Grandison and Austin Hutcherson.
Yeah, Hutcherson's big. I've seen him play. I like his play a lot.
Underwood said he's the most athletic player on the team, which is like, wow. Underwood has been known to say some crazy things. And he compared Mark Smith to Jason Kidd.
Yeah, Mark Smith, get out of here.
You got to take some of the things he says with a grain of salt. But and I think he's injured too. That's kind of concerning, but. We'll see. Yeah, and also BBV, Benjamin Boston's Verdon.
Yes.
He has a stress fracture. He's been out. And, who knows if he'll ever contribute. He could be a guy who plays the 4 with upside, but, he's got to stay healthy. But, Illinois basketball, looking forward to it.
Yep. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll try to be back at you next week. Hopefully we can get this thing going, weekly episodes. If not, we're taking our time. It's our first episode. Give us a break, so... Anyways, peace.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Okay, I pop out like a possum. I'm dumping bodies like Boston Harbor, walking jagged like drunken party hoppers with party bottles. I'm Johnny Bravo, got black all up on my body armor, got them bitches sweaty like after hours.